Well, I'm getting ready to do the last one here. Powdered sugaring it again. And there we go. Snowball cookies for the holidays or any time of the year, because I certainly love them that way. Hi, I'm Amy Roloff, and I'm in my kitchen, and I wanted to share with you a baking tradition, I guess you can call it, but it's something that I did as a girl, a little girl, a young girl, with my mom during Christmas time. I didn't bake with her a lot, but during Christmas time, I would always help out and want to help out, and I'm going to make for you one of my favorite cookies. It's simple. It's a great way to share with your family, but it's also a great way to maybe kind of get your kids involved, especially a little bit older that they get, to kind of help you bake and get them in the mood of the holidays and stuff. And besides, who doesn't like to hang out in the kitchen and bake or cook or something like that? So I am going to show you how to make a very traditional cookie that I made as a young girl with my mom, but I also made for my kids when they were younger and they helped me out in the kitchen. And I'm looking forward to having that opportunity to share this cookie recipe with my grandkids as well. So why don't we get going? First of all, I think it's a good thing to start with good ingredients. And one of those things that when you bake, I think you should try and get a very good flour. And there's lots of flours out there, but some are better than others. And I think the best is King Arthur. So I'm starting off with King Arthur flour, 2 cups. I have about a 3/4 cup of chopped pecan nuts in here. And this is just what I do. But anytime I'm cooking with nuts or baking with nuts, I usually like to roast them or saute them in like a little saute pan. I like to get some of that raw taste out of it, or that, I should say, dull taste. I don't know. So I did roast these pecan nuts or saute them in a pan before I chop them up, just until, you know, they just get a little toasty, just slightly a little brown, just so that it tastes one. It's always good to taste while you're cooking or baking, I think, sometimes. So I tasted one, I said, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Because you definitely don't want them burnt. I think that changes the color and the taste of anything. So anyway, I did go ahead and taste the whole or half pecans, and then I chopped them up after I kind of roasted, saute them. So anyway, I have 3/4 cups of nuts. I have 2 cups of flour. I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and about a 1/2 teaspoon maybe of vanilla. I think that gives kind of like a nice, warm, comforting flavor to a lot of things, but especially when you're baking. And I am going to use about maybe a 1/4, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. But if you're using salted butter in this recipe, I would either not add any salt to it or just a dash. So I am using 1 cup of softened butter, and that will go in here too. And it is salted, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt, because obviously if you got salted butter and you add too much salt, I don't know, people are gonna taste too much salt. And when you're baking something sweet, you want sweet. So anyway, I'm just gonna add a dash of salt to that. I am going to mix up my flour from the salt. I'm gonna add in my powdered sugar. Make sure that's all mixed in well. And basically, this is kind of like a shortbread cookie. And what we're gonna try and do is add in the softened butter, kind of really mix that well all in the flour. And then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for about a half hour, 20 minutes, a half hour. I think that should be good enough. and then we'll kind of form these into balls. So I added in the powdered sugar, the salt to the flour, and now I'm going to add in the butter. And I didn't get a fork out, so I'm going to go get a fork. Hi, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you are enjoying it, and I would really appreciate it if you liked it and subscribed to it. And oh, don't forget to click that little bell up there, and you'll be notified of future videos that are new and coming on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for that. And I would really appreciate it if you shared the video and let other people know and encourage them to subscribe and like the videos as well. So anyway, thank you, and back to the video. So I have the butter in here, got myself a fork, and I'm just gonna kind of break this up and get the butter incorporated into the flour. And if the fork doesn't, work very well, there's always a pastry cutter that might be easier for you to do. I don't know. What do you guys like to do when you bake? For me, baking is comfortable. It's comforting. I do a lot of thinking. I bake, I enjoy it. I have so much fun. And I don't know, I just have a lot of fond memories during the holidays of just making cookies and bread and just, helping out cooking a meal for everybody. And I love doing it as a mom, and I love doing it even now with my kids all grown up. Because one of the things I love about cooking or baking now is I will bake a meal. I will bake cookies, I will bake things, whatever it may be. And I will go over to my kids' house and say, here you go, little treat. Or here you go, you don't have to make dinner tonight. I don't know, it's just really a lot of fun. So yes, I decided to use the pastry cutter. It'll go a little quicker, and I think it'll incorporate the butter a little better. Now, if you want to go ahead and use a food processor, that's fine too. I have done it both ways, and it still turns out great. One of the things I love about doing it by hand, I don't know, I just get to feel the dough a little bit more, or just feel like I'm a part of it. So it really depends on what I'm making, whether I use a food processor or I just do it by hand. Sometimes I'll make a pie crust with a pastry cutter, or sometimes I'll use the food processor. I think both ways work fine. It's just a preference, really. So it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. So I'm gonna make sure I get that all out of there. And sometimes I'll use my hand. And now I'm going to add in, you can add in the chopped pecans before you add the butter or afterwards. I don't think it makes too much of a difference, but to tell you the truth, I would probably do it before you did the butter, because I think it incorporates the pecans a little bit more. And I like the Snowball cookies with a little bit of pecans because, I don't know, it just gives that little extra crunch. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in my little bit of vanilla. I would say about a teaspoon. There we go. Just kind of cut that in so it gets incorporated throughout. Oh, I love the smell of vanilla. I think another flavoring, if you wanted to do, would be almond extract. And because almond extract, it can be a powerful flavoring if you add too much with some basic ingredients, which I think this is. Okay, I think I am done with this. I'm gonna add a little bit of flour to my hands, just so the dough doesn't stick to me. Just so I can just get this all together, so you don't have the individual so you don't have just flour in little bits of pieces and it dries out a little bit in the fridge. So I got that all settled. I'll get some saran wrap. And we're gonna put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes, form them into little balls, and we'll be ready to stick them in the oven. Preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and then we'll bake them. So we'll be back. So I got the cookie dough out of the refrigerator, so now we are ready to shape them into snowballs. So basically, just take a little bit of a dough, take a teaspoon, and just kind of form it into a little ball. You can make them a little bit bigger or really kind of bite size. So it kind of reminds me as a kid when I loved, when it was snowing. I grew up in Michigan when it was snowing, and stuck my tongue out and was hoping all the snowflakes would land on my tongue. Anyway, or think about all the snowball fights, or the snowball that turned into a snowman. Anyway, it's one of the things I love about baking, because you can have the Christmas music playing, and then the smell of baking, all the stuff that you're baking using good ingredients, and just sharing stories, especially when you do it with your grandma or your mom or even your dad, whoever, the whole family. Anyway, this will take me a little bit, but I'm just going to form them into little balls, put them into the oven that was preheated at 400 degrees, and then bake them anywhere from about 10 to 12 minutes. It should not take longer than 15, depending on your oven. I think generally it takes about 10 to 12 minutes. And if you shape your cookie a little bit bigger, then it'll take a little bit longer, but so. I'll just show you a little bit. See, they're just little balls. Like kind of shortbread cookies turned into a ball almost. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this up and I'll be back. So I'm making the last two snowball cookies. Okay, just get this one last little bit, kind of mold it. Here we go. I'm gonna get ready to put them in the oven. And as soon as they come out, I wanna get my powdered sugar ready, because they'll just cool just slightly, and then we'll roll them in powdered sugar and it'll look like snowballs. So 400 degrees in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Whoa. Okay, I can't wait till they come out. Well, the cookies are done and I'm gonna get them out of the oven. So I'm just gonna put them over here on this cooling rack for a moment. And so we'll just let them cool for a few minutes before we start dipping them in, or rolling, I should say rolling them into the powdered sugar. And then we'll just find a really nice kind of pretty plate or Christmassy plate. And this one's all about Christmas and being merry and all that other good stuff. Anyway, I hope you have fun baking in your kitchen. And it's always great to, I don't know, it's just comforting for me. It's a good time, it's fun. It takes time, but I enjoy having other people in my kitchen. And if I don't have that very much anymore, I definitely like making something for someone else. So I think these are almost cooled, and so we'll get started in rolling them in sugar. So the cookies are out, and I'm just gonna take one, and you just roll them in the powdered sugar. And then, don't they look like little snowballs? They're so cute, so cute. And of course the powdered sugar will stay on them when they're still nice and warm. And when they cool completely, I sometimes dip them in powdered sugar again just to kind of make them look more like little snowballs. Anyway, I love these cookies growing up and making them with my mom and made them for my kids. And now I'm beginning to make them with my grandkids. And that's what I think is so wonderful about the holidays and recipes and cooking in the kitchen, passing down some of the recipes that that your grandmother told you or you made with her or your mom made, and now you're making it for your own kids. So anyway, I like using good ingredients, and King Arthur flour is one of them, plus good powdered sugar and good vanilla. So I'm gonna just finish this up, and then we're gonna put them on a nice pretty plate. I think the hardest thing now is eating one in between rolling the rest of them. Oh dear. You would consider me like Cookie Monster. I do love my cookies. Well, I'm getting ready to do the last one here. Powdered sugaring it again. And there we go. Snowball cookies for the holidays or any time of the year, because I certainly love them that way. So keep baking, keep cooking, enjoying being in the kitchen, but share it with family, friends, your kids, or whoever it may be, or make something for someone else. But thank you for joining me here in my kitchen. Happy holidays.